Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Tuesday, November 5th. So, what are we going to be talking about today? So, I thought we'd talk about today because I see this a lot too, and that is, are you effectively communicating what your wants and needs are? And I've seen shops in turmoil because that wasn't being done, and other people's wants and needs were not taken into account. So, let's stay tuned and I'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back. Yes, my name is Eric, and this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. And what's the topic for today? Well, the topic for today is, are you effectively communicating with the people around you? And this is more prevalent when I see shops where the owner is unable to convey what they want and they need to their employees and even to their customers. And what ends up happening is they get downtrodden. And you can say, whose fault is that? Well, ultimately, it's your own fault because you're not effectively communicating to your employees and your customers how things need to run. You are the owner. You own the shop. And you have to steer the ship and stay on course of making a profit, making sure there's enough money coming in to pay your employees. Your customers, if you go under, it's not going to help them because you're no longer there for them to come to you. They've been coming to you for years. And one of the things that I see in a bigger shop when this happens is somebody will come forward, whether it be the shop manager or service manager, somebody comes forward and says, don't worry about it, I'll take over and I'll steer the ship. And that's okay to a certain point because that person that has just stepped into that role does not know what your wants and needs are, does not know what your dream is or where you want to go with this business. And honestly, it may be time to get out if you're unwilling to communicate to others what your actual needs are when it comes to running the business. And that could be anything from is most important of having a reputation of work going out of that shop and of the people that work at that shop. I set the tone for that in my business. This is the way we're going to treat customers. This is the way we're going to do business. We're going to be upfront about everything. We're going to be fair. And are there going to be problems at times? Yes. But we'll deal with them when we get to them. But in the meantime, I do not want an employee or someone trying to speak for me to speak something that totally is not in my wheelhouse, not in my wants and needs. And this can spill over into your personal life as well. A lot of times, especially women, I'm sorry, women are easily downtrodden by their partners, husbands, what have you, boyfriends, and made to feel like they aren't worth what they really are. And see, the thing is that everybody has wants and needs, and everybody needs to convey them to other people. And a lot of times, if you have the ability to convey them, people will try to do what you want. But most often the case that I see let's take for a shop owner. They're they're not effectively communicating what they want. And as time goes by, that shop owner starts festering and bitching and complaining, right? And then finally there's this big blow up. And I see employees walk off the job. Should have never got to that blow up. It should have been back here, of letting your employees know what your expectations are. If you're here for a 40-hour week, you're here for a 40-hour week. Well, I'll try to work with your schedule, but this is, if you want the job, this is the job. There's times to try to bend for certain employees, especially if you've got employees that really have your best intentions at heart. I've always tended to work around them. Doctor's appointments, or if they've got a sick kid at home, stay home. That kind of stuff, right? But if it's because I don't want to get out of bed in the morning, find something that's in the afternoon shift at McDonald's. I don't care, right? But for the most part, we do want to take care of each other's wants and needs, right? And your needs are your basics, right? Food, water, shelter, clothing. Those things you need, all right? Now, your wants sometimes are almost as important for your sanity. And what I found is most people, if you let them know what you want and need, they're very receptive. A lot more receptive if you talk about it in a tone that, we're friends, or we're boss to employee, instead of it being a shouting match. Now, if you're narcissistic, this video is not for you, because you don't care about anybody else's wants and needs. All you care about and think about is your own, because that's all that counts. That's not a normal individual. A normal individual does want to help each other. And a lot of times people get downtrodden in a way, and I'm not sure if you understand the term downtrodden. It just means beat down a little bit, But an example, somebody asks you to do a favor. Let's say an employee comes to you and says, I have a favor to ask. Now, it's up to you whether you say yes or no, or even hear them out. I usually hear them out. Why not? And if it's I can't, can you advance me so much money, because I don't have enough money to get me through to the end of the pay period. Now, as an owner, it's not my problem how you budget your money. And if this is a one-time deal because something came up, whether you had to pay for over-the-counter medications because the kids were sick at home, or something come up that you didn't realize that you had, shit happens. My answer would be yes, but don't make this a regular thing. And if it becomes a regular thing where they keep coming back and asking you, and you keep, yeah, go ahead, and then when you stop and you're saying, what am I doing? Why am I paying somebody in the middle of a pay week? They should be all paid on Friday like everybody else. That employee becomes irate because what was a favor, one-time deal, you've allowed it to happen numerous times, and then when you say no, then it's all hell breaks loose. I mean, you see what I'm saying there? I mean, a lot of times people will do stuff for others as a favor, and the other person does not respect them enough, and they end up, that person is doing the favor does it enough times that it becomes expected. Has that happened to you? Okay, it's happened to me. Of trying to help somebody out, and then they expect it instead of it being, to help them out. Now it's part of their wants and needs that are being met. So what ways can we effectively communicate our wants and needs? And it's pretty easy. Speak up. I mean, you're listening to somebody else's wants and needs all day. Somebody's telling you what they want and they need. And for many people, when it comes to their wants and needs, when they're talking to you, they don't want you to do anything about it. But when I was younger, and I'm still that way to a certain extent now, I've always been a fixer, right? Repair shop guy. Present a problem. Let me see if I can't fix it. And it's great that I have the ability to fix and find ways to fix issues. The bad thing is, it's not helping that other person learn how to react and do when those challenges present themselves. See, that's how we learn the best. If you want to be a mechanic, get yourself a set of wrenches and sockets and that, and then start tearing something apart. And if you're curious to see how it works, and even better if you can put it all back together and it runs, right? It's a learning process. And if you're bailing somebody out and not allowing them to pay the consequences for their actions, then are you really helping that individual? And the answer is no, you're not helping that individual. You're actually hurting that individual. And I see this a lot with parents and kids. Instead of, if you ground a child for a week of no after hours stuff and you give in by Tuesday, no, that's not teaching that child anything. It's teaching them that they can press the boundaries and not have to do what you tell them to do. And that leads to people that become young adults that are constantly in trouble. And they don't know how to fix things. They don't know how to do these situations because somebody has stepped in and bailed their ass out on too many occasions. And that goes for the shop too. I've seen owners do that with their employees, bail them out. Joe Schmo out on a Saturday night gets a DWI, and they're expensive now, right? And I've even seen shop owners, step out and pay the fine just so that the employee can continue to work for them. Now, I don't condone drinking and driving. Not at all. Come on. Be smart about it. But if you decide to get into that car, isn't it that your choice? Well, I was under the influence, and okay, so was it your choice or my choice to have you take that drink? Or to go to the bar that night? I didn't know anything about it until you brought it to my attention. But they're looking at either pay the fine or so many days in jail. That's how it works up here anyways, that I'm aware of or used to. So the shop owner ends up footing the bill for the fine. And the employee can get out and return to work. So they really haven't paid the consequences for their actions. You, if you're the shop owner, you think you're helping them out. You as a parent think you're helping your child out by bailing them out. But what have they really learned? They haven't had to scrounge up that $2,500 or whatever to pay the fine. Well, maybe it's time they sat their ass in jail and did the consequences. But that's what I'm getting at when it comes to when you're at work. If you're not communicating well with your employees, how do you expect your employees to do what you want them to do? You know, nobody's a mind reader that I know of. Some claim they are, and I swear at times my wife is. But, you know, if you don't tell people what your wants and needs are, how can you expect them to help you and try to stay within those boundaries? And the same thing goes for employees with bosses and stuff and owners. I've seen employees mutter underneath their breath constantly about how they think they deserve a pay raise and why they deserve a pay raise. And the worst reason to get a pay raise is because your friend or other employee is getting paid more than you are. That's the worst reason for you to come to me and ask me for a raise. The right way to come ask me for a raise is to put together some things that you have accomplished here at the shop that you've taken on of your own and you've excelled at, and show me why I should pay you more because now you're more experienced. And most often the case, you will get a raise if you come at a foreman or a HR or a owner when it comes to pay raises. Is never go to them and say you think you should get $22 an hour because Andy's getting 22 and you're only getting 18 and we both started at the same time. Well, what you may not be looking at is maybe Andy's an effective communicator and has already gone to the owner and said, look, I've accomplished all these things and I'm doing all these things for you. I think I'm worth 22. Whereas you, if you've never conveyed that to the owner, boss, foreman, you know, HR, most often the case, they're not going to give you a raise unless you speak up and show them why you deserve a raise. If everything is in turmoil, is it too late to start effectively communicating? No, it's the best time to start effective communicating, and that is to shut things down. And if you want to be an owner or a foreman, that requires you to put friends aside that were co-workers, maybe if you're a foreman or whatever, but they're not your friends at work. Okay? They're not your buds. They're your employees or they're your crew. And you're only as good as your crew. And if that group is screwing up out in the repair shop and not doing the work and they're, having a great old time doing nothing, and then you're looking and there's not enough work, the money coming in is not there because employees aren't doing their job, putting their time in. I'm sorry, it's your business. And if you're the boss or the foreman, you're the one in charge. Take charge. Clear the slate right off the bat. This is the way I'm going to have it done. I don't care if ands or buts. If you don't agree with the way I want it to be done, there's the door. Simply put, there's the freaking door. When we're at work, we're not friends. I am your owner. I'm the owner of the shop. And I have expectations. And as long as you reach those expectations, we're not going to have problems. But if you don't reach those expectations, it's because you're goofing off out in the shop and not getting your work done in a timely fashion. Go. I don't need you. And there's no other shop in this neck of the woods that will hire you if you're not willing to complete just simple tasks to get it done and get it out so that this shop can make money. I'm not here at this shop just to have fun. I'm here to make a living. And if the money's not coming in, I'm not making a living. And neither are you. So let's just cut our losses now, hit the road. Now at that point, it's up to you of whether you think the employee is going to come around. And if you think they're going to come around, I would still give them a couple of days off to think about it. Especially if they've been flagrant about it. And pushing back. Go. I don't need you. I don't want you. Go. And once all heads cool down, especially your employee, they will come back and want to talk to you. If they really want that job, they will come back and talk to you and apologize. And, you could feel bad because you've had to put your foot down. But the problem is you should have put your foot down back quite a while ago. But now we've got it to crisis point. But it's still repairable. When it's not repairable is when you're looking at and talking to an auctioneering company that's there to sell off everything you own because you've gone under and filed bankruptcy or just decided to cut your losses. And you've dipped so much money into your personal account. And you can't keep doing it. A lot of your employees are not going to care if you fold. They're just there for the money. If the money's not there, they're gone. If the business hits a hardship where you need to cut back time or whatever, and it starts affecting their week paychecks, their history. And you have to have the understanding that that's perfectly fine as long as they're getting what the job done that you want done and the money coming in. If they're not, cut them. Cut them now. They're dead weight. All right, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. But the biggest thing is if you want people to help you with your wants and needs, you have to effectively communicate with them. They are not mind readers. They do not know what you're thinking, and unless you speak, they don't know that they want to be helpful, but they don't know what your wants are or your needs are. I mean, we all know what our needs are when it comes to food, clothing, shelter, but there are also other needs on the table too. And daycare could be one of them. But if you're not letting the other person at least have a chance at trying to help you by speaking up, I mean, what's the worst they can say? No. Or blow you off. Well, and the next time they come and they want to talk to you about their wants and needs, see the hand? Talk to the hand. Easy peasy. Because those are the people you don't want to be around anyways, right? All right, you guys have a great Tuesday. We'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Yes, for Wednesday's lecture. All right, guys.